Hello and welcome to a new installment of Ask Reddit. For those who are new here, I will be going through some of the most popular questions and responses from the Ask Reddit subreddit. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing as it greatly supports the channel. Now, let's get started with our first question. Which celebrity gives you "I made a bargain with my soul" vibes? Tom Cruise definitely sold his soul, but he seems pretty comfortable with that. Kenneth Copeland, those eyes. Pete Davidson. I believe he found a genie, and his 3 wishes were to not die of an overdose, to become a famous comedian, and to sleep with many beautiful and famous women. Kris Jenner. The devil works hard, and kudos, but that lady works harder. James Corden. How is someone so notoriously unlikable and unfunny in everything? I've never met anyone who has anything nice to say about him if they know who he is. Yet he keeps landing movie gig after movie gig, TV show after special, or hosting job, you name it. He either made a deal with the devil, or he must have the world's best PR team and agent. Will Smith. The guy seems like he's always acting, even if it's just an interview or whatever. I think he's forgotten how to turn it off. This is an interesting and somewhat amusing discussion about which celebrities give off a vibe of having made a bargain with their soul. Some of the comments are quite funny and make you think about the personas of these celebrities in a new light. It's surprising to see the different perspectives on these famous figures and the reasons behind the soul bargain vibes that they give off. So, I was reading this discussion about celebrities who give off a vibe of having made a bargain with their soul, and it got me thinking. What do you think about the idea that some celebrities might have made a deal to achieve their fame and success? Do you think it's all just coincidence, or could there be something more to it? And which celebrity do you think fits the description the most? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. What is the most subtle way to say "fuck you" to someone? As per my last email. Honestly, silence followed by a short "huh?" and then silence seems to really get the point across. May your day be as pleasant as you are. I love smiling, especially when someone is an asshole. It makes them more angry. I honestly envy the fact that you'll never know what it's like to have a conversation with you. Edit. Is this response unrealistic to say in a legitimate in-person argument? 100%. Does it work well in text chats? Yes, depending on context. The point was a subtle, interesting way to say "fuck you," not so much the most realistic and effective way. I'm jealous of the people you've never met. Respond to an obviously personally sent email or text with a simple unsubscribe. I can help explain it to you, but I can't help you understand. If you were raised religious, I'll pray for you. That's a Christian's way of saying "lick my balls." This is an interesting and slightly humorous list of ways to subtly say "fuck you" to someone. Wow, these responses are actually pretty creative and clever. I never thought about the subtle ways people can convey their frustration or annoyance without outright saying it. The use of sarcasm and passive aggressiveness in some of these responses is kind of brilliant. It's like a way of saying, I'm not going to stoop to your level, but I'm still going to let you know how I feel. I can see how these could really get under someone's skin without being overtly confrontational. Have you ever used any of these subtle "fuck you" lines in a real-life situation? What was the result? Do you think it's effective to use these kinds of responses, or do you prefer a more direct approach when dealing with frustrating people? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. What's the most obvious hint you dropped and other person still didn't get it? It was the last day of the year of high school. I straight up asked a friend if she wanted to plan to go out sometime during the summer. She declined. Like a year later, she asked why we never dated, and I pointed out that I asked her out, and she shot me down. She thought I was only talking about going to a movie or something. The night I was trying to get with my husband, I straight up asked him if we should kiss. He said yes, and then lifted his mask. It was a costume party to hide our faces so we could pretend to kiss. I thought that was it. He clearly wasn't interested. It turned out he thought I was kidding, so he decided to go along with the joke. I got my kiss a few hours later, and we've been together for 16 years now. Not me, but a mate of mine. We were at a party, drinking, doing stupid things. One of the girls at the party went up to my mate and said, "I'm tired. Is there a bed I can sleep in?" He responds, "Sure." She says, "But I hate sleeping alone." Another mate and I ended up telling him he should join her. He did end up joining her. He is still with her, 23 years later. We still give him a hard time about that night on occasion. "I'm gonna take a shower. Do you want to join me?" "No, you go ahead." Rephrase, I missed the hint. I was around 13 or 14 at the time. I had been riding bikes with the guy I had a huge crush on. We stopped for a drink of water and were walking our bikes through a park. He looked at me and said, "So, I've never kissed a girl." I laughed and said, "Haha, I've never kissed a girl either." The other way around. She asked me if I wanted to crash at her place. I politely declined, being the gentleman I am. A few years passed by, lots of traveling involved, and we caught up over coffee when she told me, "Remember that night when we were 18? Yeah, I didn't mean for you to just sleep at my place." Ugh, me dumb. I was playing Truth or Dare online and asked a girl to send me the name of her crush. She sent me my name, and I thought she was joking to get out of telling the truth. Joke's on her, she's my girlfriend now. Wah! I matched with a girl on Tinder. Unfortunately, she lived in a neighboring city. But we're vibing on chat, so I say forget it. I'm going to make the effort to meet her. Make a trip of it or something. So I ask her out to dinner and take a 3-hour bus to her. She picks me up at the spot, and she's telling me how glad she is that I made the travel to meet her. Anyways, we go to dinner, have a good time, and she mentions that her parents have gone for a trip. I'm just like, "Oh cool, where?" and go off on a tangent. Then as the night progresses, she says, "It's getting late, do I want to stay over?" My dumbass just thinks she's being nice, so I say, "Nah, appreciate it, but I'm going to head." I don't know for the life of me how I didn't put 2 and 2 together. On the way back, I text her how I had an amazing time and would love to see her again and whatnot. The next day she calls me and asks me point blank whether we had a good time. And I'm like, yeah. Then she asks whether I find her attractive. And I'm like, yeah. Then she goes, "Why the heck didn't you stay over?" And that's when my dumbass realized what I'd done. She's my wifey now, but to this day, she can't fathom that I made that trip just to have dinner. Still calls me a blockhead. This collection is both interesting and funny. It's fascinating to see how people can completely miss obvious hints, especially when it comes to romantic situations. The stories of miscommunication and missed opportunities are entertaining and relatable, as many of us have experienced similar moments in our own lives. It's amusing to see how different people interpret or fail to interpret signals from others, leading to unexpected outcomes. So let me ask you, have you ever been in a situation where you completely missed a hint from someone? Maybe it was a missed opportunity for romance or a misunderstanding with a friend. Share your story and let's laugh about it together. Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. What is one thing that we are using a lot that will become scarce in the next 5 to 10 years? We consume more chocolate and coffee than we are able to grow it, meaning less cocoa as an ingredient in a chocolate bar and more questionable ingredients. Props to OP for continually asking the follow-up question of, why do you think that? So this thread isn't just a long list of single-word answers with no explanation like so many other threads. Privacy, online and offline. Tracking is getting out of hand. Seafood. Massive tragedy of the commons situation. Huge portions of the world's seafood catches are being done illegally, and even the legal catches are unsustainable. Massive factory ships that process hauls out in the remote waters thousands of miles from home ports, allowing fishing trawlers staffed with slave labor to stay at sea for months or even a year at a time. Then, of course, climate change is heating our oceans, so aquatic life experiences die-offs, like the billion crabs off Alaska last year, and acidifying seawater, so plankton, which makes oxygen and feeds the food chain, have difficulty surviving. Plastics are affecting life forms and reproduction, etc. Helium. We can't create it, and we can't take it out of the air. It is needed for medical equipment and other useful tools, yet we put it in balloons and let it fly. Access to national parks. Demand keeps rising, but you can't exactly make more of them. Already a bunch of the more popular ones have had to implement timed access and reservation systems to manage the crowds. Spots at some of the campgrounds are being snapped up the moment they become available. It's just going to get harder and harder to visit them in the coming years. The comment about seafood being scarce in the next 5 to 10 years due to unsustainable fishing practices, climate change, and pollution is both interesting and sad. It's alarming to think about the potential loss of such a vital food source and the devastating impact it would have on marine ecosystems. Wow, I had no idea about the extent of the issues surrounding seafood production. It's truly heartbreaking to hear about the illegal and unsustainable fishing practices, as well as the impact of climate change and pollution on marine life. It's something that I think we all need to be more aware of and take action to address. Do you have any insights into potential solutions for these issues? Is there anything the average person can do to help combat the decline in seafood availability? And what are the potential long-term consequences of this decline for both marine ecosystems and human populations? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. What is the most common hygiene mistake that people make? Remember the beginning of the pandemic, when the government had to remind people that they should be washing their hands with soap? Yeah, it turns out a disturbing number of people don't do that. Not changing their toothbrush more often. Not regularly wiping off sanitizing their earbuds, phone, and/or keys. They aren't a body part, but I think it counts. The number of people who don't scrub their butt crack. Not washing your sheets and pillowcases regularly. They harbor bacteria and body oils and can really aggravate your skin and cause breakouts. People also assume that you need to be harsher if you experience breakouts or dry skin or in areas that you think might be dirty, like your genital region. People tend to attack these issues and areas of your body with strong soaps, very hot water, and abrasive scrubbing. Often, you actually need to treat these areas more gently, use less harsh products, cool water to wash, non-scented products and lotions, and just generally treat your body kindly. Over-cleaning already irritated or sensitive areas can actually make you more prone to breakouts, dry skin, even infections. This is not directly related to hygiene, but general cleanliness. Most people don't realize that dishwashers and washing machines have filters that are supposed to be cleaned regularly. The dishwasher one is particularly important because there is a screen filter that catches food particles and is always wet. The first time I cleaned the filter on our several-year-old dishwasher after learning this, it was horrific. I was retching the entire time I was cleaning it. Made me want to rewash every single dish in the house. Haha. Wash your butt. Seriously, I have had to have this conversation with adults before. They honestly believe soap running down is enough. No, do the proper motion between the cheeks and wash your butt. Not flossing? Seriously, floss. Your breath will smell better, your gums will be healthier, and you'll feel cleaner. As annoying as it is, make it part of your habit and you'll stop thinking about it. If I don't floss, I feel dirty, like I can feel the food in my teeth. Not closing the toilet lid before flushing. This is definitely an interesting and eye-opening topic. It's surprising to hear about the most common hygiene mistakes people make. I mean, who would have thought that so many people don't wash their hands with soap? And not changing the toothbrush more often. That's kind of gross. And I can't believe people don't realize that dishwashers and washing machines have filters that need to be cleaned regularly. Ew, now I feel like I need to go clean mine out. But seriously, the part about not washing your sheets and pillowcases regularly really stood out to me. I had no idea that they could harbor bacteria and body oils, leading to breakouts and skin issues. And the advice about treating your body gently and using less harsh products is really enlightening. So, out of all these common hygiene mistakes, which one do you think is the most surprising to you? And are there any other hygiene mistakes that you've heard of that weren't mentioned here? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. What's some common advice that's actually terrible? Just ignore the bullies, and they will go away. No, they won't. What will happen is they realize that you won't stop them or do anything, so they will continue to push you around because they think you're a wet blanket. Forgive and forget. Forgiving is for yourself, forgetting is foolish. Just be yourself. Some people are really struggling, and they need to work on improving themselves, not continuing to do the things that make them struggle. A lot of Reddit advice advocates for little to no social effort or assumes that crippling social anxiety is the norm, which I think is generally a pretty bad thing. A lot of people probably should work to overcome anxiety and work on at least some social competency. Overcoming my own social anxiety massively changed my life for the better. Do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. It should be do something that enables you to do what you love. Everything happens for a reason. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Both inaccurate and incredibly annoying to hear while recovering from leukemia. A lot of financial advice contains something about avoiding all debt, when better advice should probably be to understand how debt can be used as a tool and how to evaluate if something is worth taking on. Lawyers will give you a 30-minute session for free. Nah, they let you present your case and decide if they want to take it on or not. You're not getting free legal advice. Lol. This is an interesting topic. Lots of common advice that we hear all the time might not actually be helpful at all. Oh man, I totally agree with the advice, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Like, that's such a nice idea. But the reality is that even if you love something, it still takes a lot of work and effort. It's not all rainbows and butterflies. And then there's just be yourself. I mean, sure, to an extent, it's good to be authentic, but if you're really struggling or making bad choices, maybe being yourself isn't the best thing right now. I feel like this is something a lot of people can relate to. I mean, we've all heard these phrases before, and it's eye-opening to hear people's different perspectives on them. So what's some common advice you've received that turned out to be not so great? Or have you ever given advice to someone that you realized later might not have been the best? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. Who is the most widely beloved American currently alive? Obviously, OP meant to ask, after Dolly Parton, who is the most widely beloved American currently alive? Because otherwise, the post is just like one of those reflex tests a doctor does on you. 100% Dolly Parton. Lots of other people are like, but I can't think of anyone else that is as beloved as Dolly. You never hear anything negative about her. Dolly Parton is known for her Imagination Library program, as well as her donations to charitable organizations and providing scholarships each year for children who grew up where she did. It's hard to hate her. I don't think anyone has mentioned Dolly Parton yet. Definitely. Dolly, I catered for her when her tour stopped here back in '06. She was a sweetheart. Came over and thanked me for my hard work, and there was a $100 bonus on my check from my job that apparently came from her. Good to see Dolly getting the respect she deserves. The conversation about Dolly Parton is quite interesting. OMG, Dolly Parton is an absolute legend. Not only is she an incredibly talented singer and songwriter, but she's also an amazing philanthropist. Her Imagination Library program has provided millions of free books to children all over the world, and she's donated millions of dollars to various charitable organizations. And let's not forget about her amazing voice and iconic style. I mean, who doesn't love Jolene or 9 to 5? Plus, she's just an all-around kind and generous person. Remember that time she donated $1 million to COVID-19 research? Dolly Parton is an absolute queen, and she deserves all the love and respect in the world. Have you ever had the chance to see Dolly Parton perform live? If so, what was your favorite moment from the show? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. Who do you think best represents the idea that money can't buy class? 90% of the Real Housewives are rich. It's funny because Dolly Parton is always making this crack about herself, saying it takes so much money for her to look that cheap. But I think she's the embodiment of deep-down class. Not designer clothes and elegant style and refined manners class, but shining talent and diamonds in your soul class. Probably the number of celebrities who get so much copious plastic surgery that they have a permanent stank face. Kylie Jenner now permanently looks like she just caught a whiff of an amusement park bathroom. Any of the Kardashians, the others who came to mind have already been mentioned. Have you seen a picture of the interior of Trump's apartment? Trump lives in an apartment done in a poor man's idea of how a rich man lives. Trump's apartment looks like Midas had too much and vomited gold leaf all over the walls, ceilings, and bathroom. A Ferrari in a leopard print wrap. Jeff Bezos lacked anything resembling class when he returned from space with William Shatner. William Shatner was giving a heartfelt and spiritual reflection of what he just experienced directly to Jeff Bezos, who got distracted by the women in the back, screaming like adolescents and pouring shaking up champagne. He then proceeded to cut him off and ask if he, a sober man who lost his wife to alcoholism, wanted some? So much cringe and secondhand embarrassment in the video. So this is my nominee for the amount of money he has. To the low level of class he displays ratio. Imagine being as rich as Bezos and getting that excited about champagne whenever you see it, like some college kid. Putting gold in food and other places where it makes no sense. This is an interesting and thought-provoking conversation about the idea of money can't buy class. I love how different people have different interpretations of what class means and who embodies it. It's not just about wealth, but about how you present yourself and your values. Kylie Jenner permanently looking like she just caught a whiff of an amusement park bathroom is hilarious and so true. It's a great example of how money can't always buy taste or refinement. And Jeff Bezos' lack of class, despite his immense wealth, is cringeworthy. So what do you think defines class for you? Is it about how you carry yourself, or is it more about your values and how you treat others? Well, that's another episode of Ask Reddit in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.